And it looks like we are live. Yes, it says live. What's up, geeks? Welcome back to Geeks and Company. Tonight on the Geek Boutique, hey, we're talking Trek. We've got a special guest with us, Megan, that Valkyrie girl. How are you, Megan?
Not too bad. I'm excited. I have seen the first episode, and it's good. I'm pleased.
I'm glad to hear that, because I will admit that I am not super pleased myself, but we'll get to that in a little bit here. Mr. Jeff.
Yeah.
Resident crotchety old man. Trekkie at heart. Jeff, how you doing, my friend?
I'm really well. Yeah, I'm tired. I'm not gonna lie to you. It was a rough day at work, but we're here. We're live. I was just watching Venom: Let There Be Carnage. I didn't quite get all the way through it, but if you need a movie to cheer you up, that's the movie, because the interplay between what is essentially Tom Hardy and himself, since he does the voice of Venom as well, is really
fantastic.
Great. Yeah, say what you want about the Venom movies or whatever. It's blah blah blah. Yeah, I could just watch an hour and a half of Tom Hardy talking to himself, and that's I'm good. So yeah. And that's a lot of what that film is so far. So I got about 20 minutes to go, but hey. No, we're good, man. We're good. How are you, JS? What's going on?
Doing good. Oh, so you haven't seen the end credit scene then? I spoiled it for you last week, didn't I?
Yeah, that's fine.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I didn't realize. I thought you had already seen it. Oh, well.
It was all over the internet. I'd already known about it.
Well, it was. Fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah.
I'm assuming you've also, Jeff, watched the season premiere of season 4 of Star Trek Discovery.
I did, in fact, do that. Yes.
Now, should we just do a quick recap of what we saw? I mean, basically, we've got Burnham, who is now captain of the Discovery. This looks to be now a couple months into, they've solved the burn. They're rebuilding the Federation. They're a few months in. They've got nice new spiffy uniforms. Holy cow, do they look wicked. Stuff goes down. Butterfly people. I mean, shots not hitting anything, planets blowing up, and we're back to the old tricks of season 3. And that's where my main issue, I think, is with what I'm seeing in Discovery right now. Is this is not Star Trek Discovery to me, not like season 1 and 2 was. This is now Star Trek Burnham. And I don't have anything against her or her character specifically. But to me, Star Trek was always about the crew, not one person. And that's also a bit of an issue I have with Picard, to be honest, because, I get the show is about him, but at least Picard has earned his stay as having a show called Picard. That's the way I see it. What did you guys think of the first episode? I don't want to spoil too much for people that maybe have not seen it, but hey, if we get into spoiler talk.
I think
you get into spoiler talk.
Have to, right? If we're gonna
exactly.
Sort of deconstruct. Yeah.
Yes, it is live. I'm not sure. Messiah Complex. Oh, that's you asking. Yes, we are live.
Is it
Victoria
live,
Brown. Hello, lovely people. Hello, Victoria. Sorry, I'm just realizing now I got to keep up with the chat as we're talking here. So, what are your thoughts, Megan? How about you start? Tell us what general thoughts around episode 1 so far.
Okay, so general thoughts is it reminds me a lot of like OG Trek. Like the vibe that I get from Burnham is Kirk.
Sorry, give me a second here. It looks like it only now just went live on my phone and started blaring.
There is a bit of a lag, so make sure if you've got it in the background, you got it muted on the YouTube
I just turned it down. Sorry.
Yeah, that's right.
So sorry. So it reminded you of
just like OG, like the vibe that I get off of Burnham now is just Kirk. Like she is that vibe, and I feel like the show's going that route because I think OG Trek was very like focused on the captain, and this is very focused on the captain.
Jeff, any opinions on episode 1 so far?
I do, yeah. So you came out hot out of the gate on this one. Wow, you're very adamant on this whole too much focus on Burnham over there. You guys are really
getting too much,
in
but
there.
like that was just the route they had for the episode.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like it still felt like enough things happened with the other characters. Tilly had her moment. Stamets had his moment. I'm so sorry. The NB, the non-binary character, I do not remember their name. They had their moment. Even some of the bridge crew, they all. I felt like it's still an ensemble, but this has been Michael's show from the jump. I mean, you're talking season 1 and 2. Season 2 Red Angel and Spock, and that was a lot of Michael as well. So, and then season 3 was a lot of Michael. I don't know that this is a departure from what we've already seen. This has really been the story of Michael Burnham from the jump, and I can understand what you're talking about, where it's not so much the Magnificent Seven like we had with Classic Trek and then with Next Generation, and it's not even like the big 3 like we also had in those. But this is really it's Burnham and then people besides Burnham. But I don't know, man. I feel like that's been established right from the jump, right from the start. I mean, the shadow that was cast by Jason Isaacs, Lorca, and then Anson Mount's Pike, she's finally moved out from that, and now she's, because her and Saru were more contemporaries. They were more sort of on equal footing, and now she's the captain. It's finally her time to shine in that role. I think they've done a good job of stepping stoning us up to that. And now Giorgio's gone as well, so she's really got to stand on her own. She doesn't have that mother figure, parental figure to bounce ideas off of and such. She's got a little bit with Oded Fehr, the Starfleet guy that she can talk to, and now this uppity, snooty, all in her business president of the Federation or whatever that piece of noise is. But this is her time to shine. She gets to stand on her own now, and everything's kind of been stripped away from her as they rebuild this new Federation. So I think they've done a good job of leading us down this path to where she is now. And I don't think the Discovery gets enough credit for that, for the time that they put in to grow this character to a point where we can see her progression throughout. You know, that's just me.
You talk about an ensemble cast, and then you're naming you're saying Lorca and Georgiou and Captain Pike, and all great support character stories. Can you name me one of the bridge crews?
Yeah, there's the Asian guy, and there is
we're 4 seasons in, and we don't know I don't know the name of the bridge crew, and maybe
Okoye.
that's my fault.
Okoye
is one. Yes, you're right.
You.
Yes.
And the other girl that pilots the ship, I know what her name is. It starts with a D. I just can't remember off the top of my head. I think there's a Riley on the bridge crew as well, an Ensign Riley or Lieutenant Riley or something. One of them's a Riley. The black guy is the communications officer, and then the Asian dude is there too.
Are they replacing him?
Who?
The communications officer?
I don't,
because it looks like he was in at the beginning of the show, but then when they left, it was a different guy that was on the ship, was it not?
Maybe he's on another Federation ship. They're building new ships. They're making all kinds of new stuff, right?
They are.
Maybe
they are, which I want to get to that as well.
The creme de la creme of the new Discovery crew, and putting them, even though they're all 900 years behind in technology or whatever. Don't spend a lot of time thinking about that.
Well,
it's fine.
See, you know what? That is fine to me, because if you're now in the year, 3100, you've got technology where you can retrofit that ship pretty quickly and easily, as far as I'm concerned. When you're building nacelles that don't even need to be actually physically connected, like, there was a scene where right at the beginning of the show, where they announce, hey, this is the new Federation. We've built this brand new space dock where we're going to build these brand new ships, and the space dock Archer, or whatever the heck they call it, it's Archer. And then you hear the Enterprise theme running in the background. Did you guys even catch that, by the way?
I did, believe it or not, and I don't even watch Enterprise, but I definitely caught that. I mean, at the time I was like, oh, if only Debbie were here to sing us a couple of bars, that would be wonderful. Did you catch it, Megan?
I noticed a little bit of the sound, and I'm like, oh, yep, I remember that noise.
Because you've actually watched all of Enterprise, right?
I have watched all of Enterprise.
See, you're even more Trek than I am, because I've tried, and I get about halfway through the second season, and I'm like, I can't do this anymore. I would rather.
But it only gets good at the third season.
Stop a movie or a show, even if it's objectively not great. Yeah, if I'm invested in the series, I will go the way through.
Well, that's the problem. I was just killing time through those first couple of seasons, and I figured by now, if it hasn't grabbed me, it's not going to. So
that's fair.
Yeah, I'll get back to it eventually, which I keep telling myself about other shows that I never get back to. But I mean, we'll see.
Yeah, it changes direction quite drastically in season 3.
It better.
Wow. Yeah. And then season 4 was when it really, really, really got good, and then the show got canceled. And it's like, you're finally hitting your stride, and the show gets canceled.
Really, really got good. I loved the level of the other ones.
when you spend 2 whole seasons trying to get to a point where you're a good show, then you kind of lose most of your audience at that point.
Oh, please! Every Trek has had this problem where the first few seasons.
The first season, yes, but not the second.
Season 1.
Yeah, season 1.
Look at DS9. DS9 had 3 seasons of man.
Nobody watches DS9. Jeez.
Oh, please, come on! DS9 is the universally loved and admired.
The least of the Trek. Come on. It's not, they don't even go anywhere. You know what it's called? It's called Star Trek. Do you know what Trek means? To take a journey, and they're on a space station.
Dude, they've got a freaking wormhole, bud.
It's not even a federation. Yeah, but they don't go anywhere. Yeah, but they go
wormhole.
What's the show called? What's the show called? Deep Space Nine. What's Deep Space Nine? It's not called
space station
wormhole. It's called after the fucking space station that doesn't go anywhere.
Yeah, but
okay, if you're basing it off that though, the ones that are based off of like
I love how you're both so triggered by this.
Like, excuse me, no. Okay. But when they're on, it's the home base. Like, you always have the home base of the ship or the space station, and then you go out to space or through the portal or wherever to go and do things.
Yeah, but they don't for a lot of it until they get the Defiant, and even then anyways. It's fine. It's fine.
Well, it's funny you say that, because when they got the Defiant is when the direction of Deep Space Nine changed.
Right.
When they got the Defiant is when the Dominion Wars was starting.
Right.
And that whole 3 or 4 year story arc was beyond anything I think we had seen in Trek, because we actually got to see what war would mean for a civilization as advanced as Star Trek, right? As the Federation. Yeah. I don't know. It's still my favorite. I don't care what you say, bud. It's still my favorite.
We're all allowed to be wrong. It's okay. We're fine. We're all good.
So book. Can we talk about that, or can we? Is that
what would you like specifically to talk about? Like the character, or what happens to?
Yes, what happens exactly? Because
if you're still watching, guys, spoiler alert! If you haven't watched the first episode of the 4th season of Discovery, turn us off now. For the 2 of you that are watching, turn it off. You don't want to hear anymore. It's fine. There, spoiler alert done. Go ahead.
There we go.
His planet. Go boom. What are we gonna do?
Yeah. So Booker for me has been the most interesting character they've brought in on Discovery since Pike. Really, I loved Pike, but Booker's really, I don't know. They could do so much with Booker, I feel, and we actually got to see a little bit. Yes. I mean, there was a bit of an emotional moment, him reconnecting with his brother and his nephew, and you feel like, oh my God, there's actually going to be something there. And then the planet goes boom. It's like, wait a second, what the frick is going on here? Are we just getting another burn and going through that same storyline again?
Yep, because they can't make someone interesting if they don't have too much trauma.
Well, it's not just that though. We talked about this before, JS, in a previous one with Debbie. But I mean, that's the sort of the modus operandi of Discovery. And to be fair, like so many shows now, we're going to start off with a mystery. It's a 3-act story, just like a movie. They just spread it out over 10 or 13 episodes, right? The first couple of episodes will be the mystery, and then the middle act will be them trying to piece together the mystery, and then the final act and the ultimate episode will be the reveal of the mystery. And hopefully this time it won't be some weird Kelpian screaming really loud and blowing.
It won't be some
up.
Kids screaming and exploding ships that anyway.
Can we talk about Saru on with the Kelpians and?
Yeah, for sure.
And can we not have him there anymore, please, and put him back on the ship? Can that?
Well, he's coming back.
Well, I know he is, but can we not draw this out? Like, he had his little moment with Sukal, and he's gonna
exactly. And next episode, he'll probably be back. Yeah,
that would be wonderful.
I think they're probably gonna do at least one more of him debating and should he go, and then he's gonna reach out and he'll be with them in episode 3.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Yep. Because Burnham needs a first officer, right?
Yep.
She does.
She doesn't seem to have one now, unless you count the Asian guy that kind of took over, or whatever his name is.
Yeah, you would think that she's at least got an acting
on the planet. Yeah. Other than
officer
Book, but Book's going to be a little distracted now since.
Well, Book's not even gone through
with other things.
No, but I mean, he went down to the planet with her for the negotiate. Like, he's there literally in the capacity of a Federation negotiator with these new civilizations or these previous Federation civilizations. That's not nothing. Like, he might as well be her first officer at that point. That's who would typically be with her Kirk goes down with Spock, right? That's who
well,
would be
yeah, but
with
hang
her.
on. She did mention that the only reason she took him down there is so that he could connect with her. You know how he has that power to connect with life,
Well,
not
yeah, but
plant
that's
life,
like
but
an ability that he has that makes him a good first officer. Not
well, fair enough, fair enough.
How did that work out for them, by the way?
Well, I mean, in the end, I suppose it worked out okay, but
He didn't do
but that
shit.
wasn't for anything he did.
He just kept
He
on
did.
saying, "This is going to turn out bad. This is a bad idea." And she was like, "Screw you.
Yep.
I'm Kirk. I'm going to do what I want."
I almost feel like he was brought into that scene to be the comedy.
He's the
comedic relief. Yeah.
Oh, for sure. And at least the quiet voice of reason that is completely ignored by the reckless captain.
I had a total Kirk and Bones moment when I saw that scene. Total Kirk and Bones moment to me.
Not crotchety enough.
Not what?
Not crotchety enough.
Well, fair enough, but
Bones is hey, don't fair enough. Bones is my Patronus, man. Like, don't even. He is the quintessential crotchety old man, like literally from the jump and then all the way throughout until his dying day. Heck, when he was even on Next Generation, he was still a crotchety old man. Like that dude's. He hits me. He knows me. It's like I've been seen.
Well, he was literally an old man in crutches on, Next Generation. So.
Yeah.
And if he didn't know better, Data sounded like a Vulcan.
That was his line. But you treat her right, and she'll always bring you home. Oh, DeForest Kelly, rest in peace, old man.
Yeah, I don't know that. Look, I love Carl Urban, but I don't know that they're ever gonna be able to reproduce that chemistry. I feel like that they had. DeForest Kelly, Leonard Nimoy, and Mr. Captain
really
Kirk
good.
himself. But what do you
I
guys think, by the way, of? Sorry, go ahead.
I appreciate Carl Urban seems to be the only one that's actually trying to sort of pay homage to or embody, the original performance. And I get most actors want to make it their own, and I even appreciate that. But Carl Urban was like, this is an iconic character from. Of the last 50 years, I'm just going to do that. And I felt like he was the only one that did that. And he did it really, really well. So
he did it well.
Yeah.
He did it as well as could be expected for not being the same actor.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Sorry, Jess, what were you going to ask? What did you guys think of?
The Kelvin Trek.
I've said my piece on that. Go ahead, Megan. What do you think?
I really liked it. It feels more, well, obviously they have a higher production value and they have all the CGI and everything that they can do with it. So it went more action movie-ish to me, but like in a good way. It was still very fun and it still felt like Trek.
So just to give a little background, so Megan is now like a super Trekkie, but she's only been involved for what? Like, when did you start getting into Trek? Like last year or something along those lines?
Really?
I started watching during the plague.
Oh, wow.
So that's kind of
everything I'm assuming by now.
Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah. So that's kind of why I wanted to bring her in, so we would get someone's perspective that's not only has seen everything, but is essentially brand new to it, right?
It's all fresh on her mind.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, she hasn't watched Lower Decks yet because someone doesn't like animated stuff. So
I've seen all of the live action Trek.
Lower Decks is so good.
Is it though?
It really is. It really is. I'm loving it. It's a fresh take on Trek that we needed. I think that's something that Star Trek doesn't do enough of, is different genres. We've been promised a horror Trek since I was like 20 years old, and it still hasn't happened. A pure slapstick, Rick and Morty style Trek. Oh, hell yes. I'm loving it.
You said the magic words to make sure that I won't watch it.
So here's the thing. No, but it's not. It's not Rick and Morty, and it's not. No, but it's not though, and it's not Archer either. Like the thing with Lower Decks is not only is it deeply seated in so much Trek lore. Every single episode has so many Easter eggs and so many name drops and so many things to do with Trek. But as you start watching it and you see how much actual heart and thought and emotion goes into developing the characters, and yeah, it puts them in funny situations, obviously, but the comedy is more there to help with, as opposed to being the key factor of. So you end up really falling in love with the characters over the course of the 2 seasons. By the end of the 2nd season, you really should give it a try, because it might be the trekkiest Trek that's available right now. It totally is. It's that well developed character wise throughout the whole thing. So we can't name a whole bunch of people from Discovery, but I bet you we can name at least 3 or 4 people that are on Lower Decks.
Yeah.
Boimler, Mariner, Tendi, Rutherford.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you should try.
I mean, the episodes.
Try for the first season.
The episodes, just back in the Next Generation days, always end with a bit of there was a message in that episode, right? Like they're putting across a message, usually of hope, a message of not giving up, a message of, those type of messages that you get that's wrapped in a slapstick comedy, right? And like Jeff says, there's so much. I mean, Riker. The show is worth it just for Riker.
Oh, he's so great.
It's him. He plays Riker.
Oh, yeah.
And he is, he's more Riker than Riker. He is the Riker. Yeah. Yes, that's right. the Rikerous Riker.
He's the Rikerous Riker that's ever Rikered. It's so great.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, if you haven't watched it, check it out. And anybody that's watching, same thing.
Yes,
if you haven't
absolutely.
Watch Lower Decks. Yeah. Did either of you watch what was that? It was like a slapstick Trek show. It was a Trek knockoff. Oh my God!
The
McFarlane show. The Orville.
So I literally just watched the pilot. Like I just watched the first episode 2 days ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it.
Megan, did you watch it at all?
No.
Okay. To me, Lower Decks has a bit of an Orville feel to it. Obviously, it's an animated show. The Orville's not, but as far as the type of humor and I wouldn't be surprised. So he went to, I guess, CBC back then, saying that he wanted to make his own Star Trek show. He wanted to make a comedy Star Trek show. They shot him down. Went over to, I think it's Fox, and they threw a bucket of money at him to make the Orville. I will bet you money that CBC took that idea and ran with it and made the Orville. Not the Orville, Lower Decks. Positive that's what happened. They said, no, we're not interested. And then they said, hey, let's go make a funny show like that, but let's make it an animated show. Guarantee you that's what they did.
You may be right. You seldom are, but you may be right, sir. Who knows?
I'm never right. Let's be honest.
Anything's possible.
Yeah.
Your theories also. So what do we feel like? What does this season look like as far as, like, I get what you guys are saying with as far as Burnham goes and everything else, but what do you think the focus is going to be on? Is it going to be this great mystery that end up destroying Kayshawn? Is that going to be like the side story to the rebuild of the Federation? We know we're going to meet the Ferengi at some point during. Where do you think the show is going to go storyline wise, or more importantly, where would you like it to go? Would you like more the focus on the mystery, or would you like the focus more to be on this rebuild of the Federation? And because we're going to see the Vulcans and Romulans again because they've reunified, because they've already said that those actors are going to be back for their roles. So what do you guys want to see? Megan, what do you think? What do you want to see out of this season?
I would like it to be more so about rebuilding the Federation, because I feel like they just went through an entire season of, oh no, here's this random thing that we don't know how it happened and it destroyed everything. Let's try and figure out what caused it. And now here's another thing of, here's this random natural phenomenon that we don't know how it came and now it's going to destroy things. What caused it? So I'd like a slightly different route and maybe actually focus on like meeting new species and going back to the like exploring and reaching out and science. I think that would be a different route at least. So I hope they at least give as much time to the rebuilding as they do to this gravitational anomaly, whatever thing.
I think we're going to get a combination of both. I think that the main overarching storyline of the season is going to be this gravitational thing, and Kayshawn's probably not the only planet to get destroyed. I wouldn't be surprised if other planets get destroyed as well in the process. A lot more people are going to die. It's going to put everything they're trying to do, rebuilding the Federation, all at risk again, because all of a sudden, now you guys are rebuilding and something else is already happening. Like, you guys are just trouble, right? So that's, I think, is going to be a focus of the show at one point. Yes, they're rebuilding, but people are going to start saying, do we really want to do this? So I think it's going to be a combination of both of those things that are obviously going to end up with, Michael Burnham saving the universe again and on to season 4. That's
5.
Or sorry,
now
season 5.
Now, with the gravitational anomaly, do you figure it's going to be another weird, like, natural phenomenon or person-caused thing, or do you think it's going to be a weapon that someone is trying to make?
You know what? I hadn't even thought of that. That's a very good question, Jeff. I'll let you answer that first because I need to process that for a second because that's an intriguing concept.
So here's the problem: is it always reminds me of Batman Begins. At the end of Batman Begins, Commissioner Gordon is talking to the Christian Bale Batman, and he talks about how escalation. We buy semi-automatics, and the criminals buy automatics, and you're jumping around on rooftops, and now we have the Joker. It becomes if someone has developed a weapon that can destroy planets, there's really that's where do you go from there? Like, there's nothing else that's more devastating than destroying an entire planet full of billions of people. If someone has a weapon that can do that, then I feel that really puts you in a box, like it puts you in a corner, because you're not going to unless the weapon is extraordinarily delicate or needs this giant confluence of events or needs.
You could always call it a Death Star.
That's what I'm saying.
They managed it in Star Wars. So.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. But then that's the whole thing, right? Like that's the entirety of it. Like, there's nowhere to go from there. Like, if there's some planet destroying weapon out there and you spend season 4 figuring out what it is and then you take care of it, what the hell what possible threat could you have in season 5 that would match that you would be able to sort of overcome? So I hope it's some kind of natural phenomenon or some inconsequential sequence of events that they didn't know that would lead up to that. I don't want it to be, even though I would really love to be, there's some overarching con level villain would be great. I don't want that villain to be able to destroy planets on a whim, because then it's just too much. It's too far that you've gone.
Now, what if that was like a misfire or something went wrong, that they were trying to do something else and it messed it up?
Yeah, I feel like it's going to be something more in the lines of, we caused this. When we came to this future, we did something that is now rippling through time. I think that's what's, I don't know. I mean, that's just my gut feeling that's what's going on. They're going to find out at the end that they're responsible for this. Although I said the exact same thing for the burn. I was positive that they were responsible for the burn going through time. They're the ones that blew up all the ships. That was my theory. And how right was I there?
It would have been better than the Kelpian.
It would have been better than the Kelpian, but I don't know. I don't think it's going to be a weapon per se. Maybe somebody's trying to build something and it blows up, and that's what, maybe an accident of some sort. But I don't know. I don't feel like it would be a weapon. One of those things where it's like, fire at 4% and it blows up a planet. Yeah, no, I don't think we're getting that.
Nope. It's time to go to ludicrous speed at that point, right?
Yeah.
What are you gonna do? It's not gonna work. But we'll see. Some sort of gravitational lensing. We'll see what the mystery is and how quickly they solve it, which will not be very quickly at all.
It'll be 2 months.
Because it never is. Ever. But hey, we get Picard to look forward to. I think Discovery is usually 13 eps, if I'm not mistaken.
13?
Season.
Yeah.
I think. It's like half of a regular season of a show, but I'm almost positive it's 13. So yeah, we got some time, man.
Yeah, and then we're getting Picard after this.
Yes.
Picard is coming out, I believe, just a few weeks after Discovery ends, if I remember correctly.
I think that's usually the way it goes. Yeah, and then Prodigy is currently running.
Prodigy, I believe, is almost done, isn't it?
Is it? I don't know. I watched the first episode and it didn't really grab me, so I haven't gone back to it.
I haven't even checked it out yet. I heard it's good, but it's unlike Lower Decks. The Prodigy's audience is little kids, So I can understand why it wouldn't grab you, and that's okay. I mean, they want to get Trek as well. I mean, why not?
Yeah. No. It still
Get
feels
kids into Trek as young as possible, as far as I'm concerned. But
early indoctrination is key. I agree.
Yes, little kids. But I haven't really watched it yet. I heard Chakotay is going to be on as well, or was on, or.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Janeway is a main character, one of the main characters.
I'm surprised they got him back though, because didn't the actor really not like being on that show?
Yeah, he sure didn't. Yeah, he's one of the few that's come right out and been like, I did not enjoy my time type of thing. So
really,
yeah. Robert Beltran has not had a lot of good things about being on good things about being on Voyager, but money talks, and I'm sure they just cut him a check, and he was like, hey man, I got to eat. So, and I mean, being on a set for 16 hours a day versus being in a recording booth, just recording the lines and going home, probably a pretty different scenario, I would think. So,
and let's be honest, I mean, it was hard sitting through Voyager as well, so I could only imagine standing on that set for 12 hours a day, 14 hours a day.
I love Voyager. What are you talking about? What are you crazy?
Voyager is the worst Star Trek of them all, literally.
I think you said Deep Space Nine wrong. I don't understand why you're saying that. That doesn't make any sense to me.
You're
Can we not all agree that's Enterprise? Enterprise is clearly the weakest of all of them.
Enterprise, as far as I'm concerned, was better than Voyager, for sure it was. Says the guy that hasn't even watched the whole show.
Should
go watch the show before you actually
and stop smoking drugs. Megan, you look deep in thought over there. What's going on?
I don't know. I think I'd put them barely even together. Like Voyager and Enterprise are.
Jeez, guys, what are we doing here? What are you doing? So disappointed. Oh, I thought I knew you guys. I thought you were my friends.
They're lower tier, but they're fine.
I can't. You know what?
They're still Trek, so they're still good. Oh no.
All right, so Megan, what did you think of it?
Damn you guys. That's terrible. Absolutely terrible.
There has to be a least favorite one.
I know, and it's Enterprise. Everybody, I'm gonna put a poll up on my Instagram stories, and I'm gonna
go vote right now.
I'm gonna hide my story for JS.
Make sure that Voyager's on that list.
Voyager will be on the list.
Put them all. Put all the series on that list.
I will put as many as I can put on there, and I will put it up.
I wonder if
I'm telling you right now, it's going to be Enterprise. I will put money down.
Yeah, I think you're right.
That it's going to be. I know there are a lot of people that absolutely love Voyager. I'm one of them, and I don't hear a lot of people talking about how much they loved Enterprise. A lot of them just like, yeah, I got through it. Or like you're saying, Jess, like it got good eventually, but
yeah, and that's fair. I'm sure there were probably more people that loved Voyager than people that loved Enterprise. I will give you that.
Yeah.
I will say there will be more people that say Voyager is the worst show than
versus
people
Enterprise?
That will say Enterprise. I think so.
I don't think that'll. Yeah, no.
We're gonna find out. We're gonna find out. Oh, you gonna learn today? We're gonna find out, son. I'm gonna put up that poll.
Hey, man. You know what?
And you don't get to vote. No. I'm going to hide it from you.
And if you're right, I will post on my story, Jeff was right, and I love Voyager. How's that?
Hey, there you go.
Okay. As long as you also put that Babylon 5 was better than Deep Space Nine. That's fine. Then we can move on together as friends.
I mean...
What?
I think they were about the same to me. You know what? No, they weren't. No, DS9 was better than Babylon 5. I've seen DS9 from beginning to end 5 times. Yeah, Babylon 5 I've seen once, maybe twice.
No, he's weird about Deep Space Nine. That's why I keep
Yeah. I have it on DVD. I watch it regularly.
The only show I've seen that much is Buffy, and that's saying something.
There was a time in my life where at 5 o'clock every day, was it 5 o'clock or was it 6 o'clock? I can't remember now. Star Trek would come on Space Channel, and every day it'd be a different episode, and they would run through every single episode of The Next Generation, and then when that was done, they would run through every episode of DS9, and when that was done, they would go through all episodes of Voyager, all episodes of Enterprise, and then they would start all over again with Next Generation. So I would watch Trek every day. Literally every day I would watch an episode of Star Trek. For years.
There are worse things.
For sure.
There are very much worse things.
For sure. And again, Jeff, I'm saying Voyager's the worst because it is, but I still watched the whole series, and I've still seen many of those episodes multiple times. So,
Yeah, Yeah, like the worst of this is still like a pretty high bar as far as shows.
Exactly. The worst of this, I'll still rewatch any day, right?
So disappointed. So disappointed in both of you. So disappointed. So
you never really told us. You never really told us, Jeff, where you thought this was going as far as Discovery and the planet exploding and blah blah blah.
Yeah, so they can't have the main focus be the rebirth of the Federation, unfortunately, because that's not a show. There's no conflict, right? Everybody that's running a TV show will tell you there has to be some level of conflict. Like I said, what I would really love to happen, I would love for them to swing us a curveball. I would love for them to figure out what happened to Kayshawn in episode 2. And they figure it out, and maybe there is a big bad behind it, and then they spend the rest of it battling and finding and battling and freaking out over this big bad. Like I said, I want a muahahaha villain. Like I want like a con level guy that's just gonna get in there and just chew scenery for Burnham to be like a foil against throughout, because we really still haven't had that. Everything's been this sort of Lorca ends up being that, but not until the very end of the first season. The second season is the Red Angel. The third season is the Burn. We really haven't had that big classic overarching villain that I have to have. So I would love for them to throw us a curveball and have that happen. That's not what's going to happen, but that would be super cool if that's what I want to see happen. But unfortunately that's.
Oh, so you mean you'd love to see a new race of aliens come in and start, blowing shit up? And
it doesn't even have to be new. It can be
fucking up the Federation.
No, it can be the Remans. It can be an offshoot of the Klingon. I don't care. Like I just want a big bad. I just want some terrible, tyrannical dude or chick that's trying to take over the galaxy or at least the quadrant, and Burnham and the Federation are the only ones that can stop them. And give it to me. Why can't I have it? You've teased me with it a couple of times.
You want a person to be a big bad versus,
that's right.
We're getting a new...
No, I don't care about
the
that.
new Klingons or the new Jem'Hadar or the new Borg. Or, I don't need bad.
that. I mean, if they want to do that, that's fine. Like, it would be fascinating to see. I mean, have the Borg been overused? Yes, obviously they have. But would it be fascinating to see what the Borg look like almost 1,000 years in the future? Yeah, absolutely. I would absolutely love to see that. Yeah. I mean, talk about being they were devastating 931 years ago. I'm sure they're way, way worse now. So I don't know, but I just need. Because talk about when things got good, when Voyager ran into the Borg in that season 6 and 7, that's when this, again, same thing. That was some of the best Voyager that we saw. And First Contact is in my view, one of the best of the new Trek films, including all the new J.J. Abrams films. So yeah, you've got the tools to give us a big bad, and you've given us big bads before in other iterations of Trek, especially this one because it's serialized. So it doesn't even have to be a villain. Like, it doesn't have to be the Scooby-Doo villain of the week. Right? Like we got in the original series and such, and we got on Next Gen and all the rest, but this is serialized. You can give me someone on episode 2 and just build them up through the entire, like the next 9 hours of television, and make me fucking hate and love this guy at the same time, and then have some sort of ultimate conclusion in the penultimate and then the ultimate episode. But no, we're gonna get another mystery about why that pretty planet blew up, and I don't know.
So, Jeff, I'm getting a feeling you're not super excited for season 4.
It's not going to be what I want it to be. It looks like it's going to be a rehash of seasons 2 and 3, where there was a mystery to solve, the Red Angel and then the Burn. One of those is very satisfying. One of those is very not. If it's another 12 episode mystery that we have to solve, as long as I guess the resolution satisfying.
Season 2 to season 3. Did you just compare season 2 to season 3? Really?
Yeah. Ultimately, they're the same thing. At the end of the day, something happens. A series of events take place. They don't know the cause of those events, so they go on a fact-finding mission for 13 episodes to figure out what happened. In season 2, the Red Angel turns out to be Burnham. They go in time. Blah blah blah. Season 3, it's the Burn, and they go on the fact-finding mission to figure out what happened with the Burn. So it's the structure. I don't mean the quality of, but I mean the structure is very similar in the 2 series. So
fair enough. Yeah. Season 2 worked way better than season 3.
I agree.
And I will say that was all because of the Enterprise, or at least the Enterprise crew being in season 2. Really, I feel, brought it to a next level. Anson Mount, I think it's
Oh, he's
wicked
fantastic.
actor. I didn't know him
That's great.
before this, and he's an amazing actor.
Yeah.
I don't know who it is that played Spock. He got a lot of flack for his character, but I loved him as Spock. I thought he was great. Yeah, season 2 was amazing, and I see what you're saying about the way the seasons are built.
Yeah,
but,
the structure. No. The quality is definitely not the same because
yeah.
I mean, a little kid caused the burn.
Because
That's rough.
Stuck in a house with crazy holograms.
I just feel like they were trying to capitalize on Trelane and Q. Like there's been other characters in Trek lore that had sort of godlike powers or superpowers or whatever you want to do, and I think they were trying to tap into that, but they made that character so unlikable. I think it was you, Megan, that was telling me, like, you hear Sukal talk and you just want to like punch yourself in the face because it's so awful.
I don't know if it's something that they told the actor to do or if it's a choice that he made, but like the way that he speaks reminds me of if Yoda, like the way that Yoda's voice sounds, but without the weird grammar structure.
I kind of feel that was probably done intentionally. You got to remember that this guy is a kid still, right? He's been alone.
Oh yeah.
He grew up from a child to an adult alone, so he's never developed like a normal grown-up would, right? So I think I'm assuming that was a conscious choice that they made when they made him talk like that. But yeah, he's not a. Huh?
Woof.
Woof.
Oof. 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 Oof.
Mm-hmm.
Oof. Oof. Terrible. Yeah. Woof. Woof. I'm just gonna randomly woof throughout the whole podcast. Woof. No. I am not a dog.
It's okay. Just let him do it. Jeff's had a rough day. He can woof if he wants to.
That's right. We can woof if we want to. We can leave your friends behind.
Do you guys want to see
don't dance, and if they don't
some of the old?
No friends of mine.
Alrighty. One more.
Yep. That sounds about right. That's a good choice.
Do you think we're gonna see some of the old tricks? Are we gonna perhaps see the Borg? Are we gonna perhaps see Q or AQ? Are we gonna perhaps see, like, are they gonna bring back some of these old foes? Or at least some version of them? Do you think that's something that they're going to try to do?
Bring a version. I don't know if they should do a version of like the Q, because I feel like you're so attached to just that specific character, and like he wouldn't be. Well, I guess technically they could, because they're supposed to be.
Well, he's back in Picard. He's in Picard season 2.
But yeah, like you need the playoff with them. I feel like he wouldn't be as satisfying without Picard there, because he was okay in Voyager, but it wasn't the same.
It was not the same, but he was good on Voyager. I love John Delancey. Something about his voice and the way he talks. He's just so.
Yep.
I could watch him do anything.
Yes. Fully
so
agree.
I thought he worked. I thought it was funny when they did that episode with his son, with Auntie Janeway, and his son is wreaking havoc on Voyager, and that was a neat.
She has zero
twist.
patience.
Yeah, that was a neat twist to Q. The Runaway Q. What was the name of that episode in Next Generation, where there's the Q that is on trial and is going to be executed, and he runs to Picard and says, I want asylum. So we've had different versions of Qs.
I guess that's true. I don't think any of them work as well as like original Q. So I think if they're going to back an old villain, I would rather it be like seeing the new version of like the Borg or new version of like an offshoot of the Klingons. Like, I'd rather it be like a race that we've already kind of established more than one character for.
That's another thing. Why do you think we haven't really seen all that much of any of these new races in season 3? Like, we haven't seen the Klingons. We've seen the Vulcans, but I mean, we haven't seen the Ferengi. Who else? I mean, we haven't really seen any of the traditional Trek races other than the Vulcans, have we?
I guess because in season 3 with the burn, they don't really have distance travel, and I'm pretty sure all of their planets are fairly spread out.
Enough. Yeah.
So now that they have that, if they don't bring it back in this season, then I'm gonna have questions. But like, I get it to a degree for the last one, because Vulcan was supposed to be like the nearest other world, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think too, they want to make sure that we get that we're 930 years in the future. I mean, if they do this huge time jump and then we get to the future and we just see all the old familiar faces, it's not going to differentiate enough from what we were already watching and already seeing. So we get the Vulcans and the Romulans, but they're this weird amalgamated thing now because reunifications happen. Like the planet's not even called Vulcan anymore. It's called whatever it's called.
I forget what they're calling it now.
Navarre or Nidavellir,
Yes.
I don't know, whatever it was. Yeah. So so we have that. The Klingons are kind of weird me a little bit though. That one I'm not 100% sure why we haven't seen or even mention of the Klingons on any level, because by that time you would think if the timeline goes the way the timeline is supposed to go, they would have been allies of the Federation, you know, during the next gen time, right? So that's because it is established we're not in the Kelvin timeline, we are in the prime timeline. So this has all happened before. I don't know. I think they're being cagey about what they're showing and what they're not showing. It's interesting to me that we got a Ferengi in the trailer for Discovery season 4. We still haven't seen a Klingon, not one Klingon yet through all of season 3 and now into season 4. We've seen the Trill, for goodness sake. Like we've seen some of at least some of the other races and species, but not the Klingons. So I don't know if they're holding them back specifically because they have an ideal story. Maybe it's them that blew up the planet. Who knows? Like I don't know. Like maybe they're going to be the big bad, and we'll have like a Christopher Lloyd level Klingon that's just out there, chewing scenery and stuff. That would be super great. It's not going to happen, but I honestly, me myself, nothing would make me happier than to hear communications cut in and we are the Borg, lower your shields and surrender your ships. We will. I'm getting goosebumps just saying it out loud, imagining it on the show, how amazingly cool that would be to see on Discovery with their production values and with the quality of how that show's made. Yep. But I don't think we're going to get it. I think the Borg are too overdone at this point. So every time they need to trot out a big bad, they're like, it's the Borg.
They've introduced already, just even with the ships, like they could be so cool. They could be so cool right now.
I agree. I just don't think we're going to get it.
I think we're at least going to get one Borg episode before the end of this. And if we don't, we might...
We riot?
Crossing my fingers, we might get a Borg episode in... I don't know how they would do it, but in New Frontiers, is that what it's called? The other show that's coming out?
Strange New Worlds.
Strange New Worlds. Kind of hoping...
Well...
Yeah, they would. Timeline-wise, it's not possible.
Yeah,
but
it doesn't work. Yeah.
Kind of hoping they figure something out, because you know what, the Borg and Q are my two favorite big bads of Star Trek. So, and I don't think they're going to bring back the Klingons. I have a feeling we're never going to see the Klingons again on Discovery because of the flack that they took for how they made them look in season 1 and 2. I have a feeling that the producers have said, you know what, screw it, we're not dealing with this anymore. We're jumping 3,000 years in the future, whatever it is, and they're 900 years in the future, and we're not dealing with the Borg, the Klingons anymore.
Again with the Klingons.
If they don't reference them, they need to at least say something about like the planet got destroyed, or they died off, or they something.
Yeah,
you can't just not mention them.
Yeah, too big of a thing in Trek, right? So they were an integral part of the Federation for a long, long time, and they were like, "Well, we don't talk with the Klingons." Come on, man.
Yeah, we don't talk about what happened with the Klingons.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, it's like the redheaded stepchild. We can't talk about.
I do still have, the makeup and prosthetic choices that they made for them were so profoundly odd. It's fine.
Not a fan. Not a fan of the new look Klingons. Because you haven't been on our previous episodes where we've talked about Star Trek, so yeah, we need to mine you for opinions here. So you were not a fan of the new look Klingons, or?
No, I think it would have been okay if they still had hair in any degree. Like when they included it a little bit more in season 2, it was better. But yeah, like during season 1, they look like a completely different race. Like when they first went into it, I'm like, oh, we're getting new aliens, and then they're like, oh, it's Klingons. Like, wait, what?
But you know what? Give them hair, and all of a sudden they look like Klingons again.
Yeah. Because, like, honestly, even the jump between, like, OG Trek and Next Gen with the Klingons, like, you can still tell that it was a Klingon, even with, like, the weird, like... it had, like, the same kind of feel for the costumes at least, even though they had a lot better prosthetics, obviously, once you jumped into next gen. But they looked entirely different, and it was so weird.
Yeah, they were very different. They completely reinvented what it meant to be a Klingon, as far as
which they did in Star Trek: The Motion Picture. That's when the first Ridgey Klingons actually appeared. Previous to, and it was that same thing. Like if no one told, if you didn't know,
what's his name,
that those were Klingons, you wouldn't know. Because they looked complete. It was a complete and utter reimagining, and that ended up becoming the iconic look for Klingons for decades. And then they reinvented them again for Discovery, and everybody went no. And
but like the reimagining was just making them actually look like aliens instead of just people in brown face. So like,
I don't know. We talked about it before. It is similar to how they did which was weird because that seemed to be received okay, but the Kelvin Klingons, the Klingons that appear in the Kelvin movies, look very similar to the Klingons that ended up appearing on Discovery. They had no hair. They had a lot of like cool ass piercings and such, but that seemed to work out better because we only see them in Into Darkness and that's it, and we don't see them a lot. They get like 10 minutes of Klingons and then we don't see any more Klingons. But that seemed to be, everyone was like, yeah, that's cool. And then the Discovery Klingons show up and they look almost identical, and everybody's like, no, I don't like that. And I'm like, well, make up my mind, guys.
But it's supposed to be like the Kelvin or whatever is a different universe. This is supposed to be the same world that's already been established.
We can tell you're a Trek, all right. Yes. I can listen to you over there. Like, well, actually.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's supposed to be part of the same continuity as Next Generation.
Yeah.
And
no, for sure. Yeah, I know. Yeah. We made them look a little different. It's time to move on. Like, what do we say? We don't talk about the Klingons. It's not. We don't reference.
Yeah, it would be nice to see that they're actually like either still a thing or to have a reason for why they're not in the Federation or interacting with them at all.
Agreed. We just gotta take them some dilithium, like we're doing with everybody. We just gotta bribe them with some dilithium, like we're doing with everybody else, with like the weird butterfly people and shit.
Mm-hmm.
That was a choice.
Wow. I was fine with the butterflies being their wings, but when the butterflies became their eyes, I was like, no.
Yeah, that whole scene
what are we doing?
Was a little weird to me. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, it's the satellites. That's why they can't shoot. And it's like, what? Like that whole thing was so weird. Yeah. Well,
like,
their planet is off rotation.
They're just trying to aim at something in front of them.
I don't know. I feel like they make a lot of these weird choices just to make it Trek. Does that make sense? Like, oh yeah, let's do this. People will, think it's Trek. It's Trekky to do this, and it's like, okay, but that doesn't work. Like, I don't know. I feel like they throw a lot of these things and they break their own rules sometimes. I find like Discovery and Trek in general breaks their own rules all the time. And that's one thing that, I don't know. The nerd in me says this is how that works. And if you do it any other way, it's like, you know what I mean? But that's how Star Trek has always been.
Well, every time that anything went wrong with a ship, right, you just go down into engineering and they'll boost this or reverse the polarity on this, and suddenly it works.
Yeah, damn it, Jim. I'm an engineer, not a doctor. Sorry, I'm a doctor, not an engineer.
Other way. What are you doing? Stop drinking. Jesus.
All right, let's have one more.
Dress you up. Can't
it's like, we're cutting you off.
There you go. Listen, we're surprisingly, we're already 50 minutes into this.
Wow.
And then Victoria Brown says Jeff is off the rails. Yeah, that was from the oof thing or the woof thing earlier.
Jeff is always off the rails. It's fine.
Yeah, well, hey, it wouldn't be here. Jeff if he wasn't off the rails at least a little bit.
Whee!
So we've talked a little bit about where we think Discovery is going to be heading. Have you guys seen any kind of trailers? I'm assuming you've all seen the Picard trailers. You have a basic understanding of the premise of the show. How different of a show are we getting to this? Because we're getting Q and we're getting the Borg in Picard season 2.
Yeah, I think
and
they're
time
going
travel.
to lean back
and time
into
travel.
Yeah, they're going to try and lean back into the things that were really popular in Next Generation, because like it's Picard. Do the things that he did. So I think they're going to play that up, but I don't know. They like to just kind of keep throwing different weird things into it because they want to be different and try new things. So it'll be an amalgamation, and I hope it'll be a good one.
Yeah, I don't like the time travel. Not a fan.
No.
Not so much the time travel, but the fact that they're going essentially to our era. That I'm not a fan of. I hate when shows do that because I already know what my era looks like, and it sucks. I watch this show for escapism, and I want them to be in the future and doing cool future shit.
Hang on. Didn't your favorite show, Voyager, do that exact same scenario?
I didn't say it was my favorite show. I just said it wasn't the worst show. There's a difference.
Well, honestly, all of them do, because like OG Star Trek used to always go to like the 50s and 60s.
Yeah.
Granted, but I mean there were some budgetary issues for the OG Star Trek, as in they didn't have one. So I feel like Picard's got some money to spend.
No, they definitely got. They have the budget that they don't need to, but like there is precedent.
Oh, there's certainly precedent, but I would almost prefer if they went back to like the 50s because that would be a little bit cooler. It could even lean into Picard doing his whole Dix, the detective thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
they could lean into that or whatever. But just coming to our era, I don't know. To me, it feels like lazy writing. It just feels like now we can just shoot it anywhere. We don't have to worry about sets. We don't have to worry about design. We don't have to worry about any of that stuff. We don't have to worry about costumes. We can just dress everybody normal, go out and shoot normal shit, and package it into this show. I don't know, man. It's not why I'm watching. I want escapism. I want to boldly go where no one's gone before.
I feel like that's going to be a very, like, they're not going to be in the past, I don't think, for very long. I don't even think it's going to be a full episode. You guys want to hear my theory of how Picard's going to go down?
No, please. That's not why we have the show at all. No? We don't want to hear your theories,
I'll
please.
keep it to myself.
Let's move on. Anyways, yes, of course, give us your theories for the love of Pete. What do you think we're doing here?
So the trial never ends, and it's going to start with Picard coming back to Earth to an empty house because, I mean, he's dead. Let's be honest. If you've seen season 1, you know that Picard is technically dead, and it's now an android Picard. So he's going to show up to an empty house. Q's going to show up. The trial never ends. Q does something to screw up the timeline. Picard, freaking out, says, oh, we got to go back in time. Wake up the Borg Queen, because she's brought us back in the past before, so let's have her help us get back to the past. They go back and do their little shindig in 2021, and when they come back, they don't come back. They go to the mirror universe. And that's all those sets you're seeing and the different badges and things will be completely different, and they're going back to the mirror universe. I think season 2 of Picard is going to be a mirror universe show. That's what I think.
That could be interesting.
All caused by Q.
They have shown in other episodes of Trek, especially on Next Generation, that choices in the past would impact the future timeline-wise, not as so much mirror universe-wise. In particular, when Q gives Picard to go back in time and not get into the bar fight with the Nausicaans, not get stabbed through the heart, but the entire timeline has changed. Or yesterday's Enterprise, when the Enterprise C comes through the rift, and there's a completely different, but that's not the mirror universe, that's simply an alternate timeline.
It's an alternate timeline, correct.
Alternate timeline, yeah. So multiverse, so hot right now. So I like your theory, but because Discovery has spent so much time banging away at the mirror universe literally since day one, I feel it's going to be more alternate timeline, more so than Q, literally like that episode with the Nausicaans. He takes them back in time, choices get made, he brings them back forward, everything's different. Then they have to, do their best Doc Brown impression and have to go back to the future or the past or whatever. Yeah, it's back to 1955 to not, fuck your mom and all that kind of shit.
But it is an alternate timeline. It's not affecting their timeline.
No. I agree. That's what I'm saying. I don't think it's going to be mirror universe. I think
it's the Kelvin universe, right?
Yes, that's right.
I forget what his name is. Eric Banner's character.
Yes, Nero
coming back through the portal.
That's right.
offshoots, and now we've got a completely different timeline, right?
That's what I think is going to happen.
And that's possible as well. I just feel like that weird logo we have at the back of Picard, very authoritarian looking, almost Nazi looking setup. I don't know. And it may just be a alternate timeline, but if they do an alternate timeline and they set it up that way, are people still going to call it the mirror universe? Well, does it make a difference if it's the actual mirror universe or not?
Well, no, it's not.
It depends on the feel of it.
Yeah, because the mirror universe is an alternate universe they can just go to. Like it's a universe that's beside our universe. It's like a multiverse. Where an alternate timeline is that's not the same thing, right?
Fair enough.
Oh no, it's not the same thing. But I think depending on the feel that like the alternate universe has or the alternate timeline has, people will call it a mirror universe just because it has that same sort of like authoritarian. Authoritarian. That's how we say it. That sort
Words
of
are
like
hard.
vibe where like people are bad, or it's not like an idealized future the way that Trek normally tries to be. It's going to be like there are bad things. So people will probably make a lot of mirror universe references.
Mayhaps. But there's just specifics about the mirror. Like there's like that organization is called something, the Terran Dominion or whatever it is, or I don't remember what
the Terran Empire.
Whatever it is, yeah, they everything has, and there is a specific logo, and it's not the same logo that you're seeing. So I mean, it's not. It's
not. But it's also we've never been in the mirror universe at that point in time either.
Right.
So we don't know what the Terran Empire could look like at that point. We don't know what the logo could look like.
It's true.
I think basing Picard in that specific space and time, they have kind of an open door to do almost whatever they want. Whereas Discovery was a little bit handcuffed by the fact that they were another prequel. Nothing that happens in Picard's affects anything, right?
No mo. Now they can do whatever the hell they want in Discovery.
Yep. They're just like, we are way further out in the future. We can do anything.
Yeah.
Yep.
That time ship, the time ship, what was it called? That we met in Voyager. The dude that he had this time ship, and he's the one that sent Voyager back in the past by accident, and like wasn't he from this time period? Wasn't he from 900 years in the future?
After, I think it was slightly before, right? Because he was just around the Temporal Wars, or just after it.
I don't know, because the Temporal Wars typically. The Temporal War happened in Archer's time.
Yes. No. Right?
Yeah, that was the Temporal War was an Enterprise.
Well,
that's
yeah,
where
like they referred it during it, but they always mentioned that it got
Daniels.
Yeah,
Daniels. I forget what time period he was from as well. Yeah, that was another time traveler that came from the future as well. That's right. Yeah. But that's not the one I'm talking about. Like at one point, Starfleet has a time division where they
to be able to like make sure that things don't change.
Exactly, and they have time ships and all that stuff. Like, would this have been before the burn, or do we know?
It must have been, because they never reference it, right?
Yeah, they never reference it at all, and you would think that if they're now stuck 900 years in your future and it's after this, well, don't they have the technology to send them back?
Yeah, you would think so.
Do they want to go back?
I don't know.
I don't think so.
Wouldn't you?
They kind of made that decision when they went forward, and I don't think they can, because they still have the sphere data. The whole point was taking the sphere data out of that time frame.
Well, they do. You're right. They do have the sphere data still. Yeah.
So that they can't go. That was the whole point of them going forward in the first place.
Fair enough.
Isn't the sphere data on the robots now, though? It's no longer integrated into the ship.
Both. I think the robots.
I think it's both.
Parcel of.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if they go back, then Control will get the sphere data and everything will go bad again and blah, blah, blah. Which reminds me, by the way, I hope we get some more Section 31 with David Cronenberg and that stuff in this season as well. And I know he's in the trailer, so clearly we're going to see him again.
Is he really?
He was in the trailer, yeah. So
I didn't notice.
He is, yeah. So his character is coming back for season 4. I would love to get some more Section 31 stuff. Whatever Section 31 looks like now in the new Federation and such, because you still have to have, an intelligence arm and or a secret police or whatever you want to call them, because you're still running a giant multinational organization. So some more of that would be cool, because I know they were talking about doing a Section 31 show, and that seems to have stalled.
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, that was originally going to be a show led by Georgiou, right? She was going to get her own show.
Yeah. Then she went off and made Shang-Chi, which...
Yeah, I freaking love Michelle Yeoh. She's amazing.
Oh, she's fantastic.
She's really
It doesn't matter what she's in. She's so good. Even in Shang-Chi, her role was tiny, but yeah, I loved her in that, even though, the movie was meh. Yeah, we won't get back into that. I saw your post on Instagram. I could tell.
Not the topic of today.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it. We'll talk about the current state of Marvel affairs here on an upcoming podcast.
We will. We got to do another Phase 4. What's going on in Phase 4 episode for sure?
Nothing. No, I shouldn't say that. I really liked Eternals. Eternals was awesome. But so far, Eternals has been the only thing I've really liked out of Phase 4 so far. So.
Well, it's funny you say that. Hawkeye. There's Pizza Dog.
Oh, I would love to watch the most boring, useless Avenger.
Apparently, it's amazing.
Well, I've heard mixed
reviews. First 2 episodes are
I'm...
apparently very, very good. So I don't know.
It goes by a lot faster than it feels like.
And you say that because you enjoy the character and the surrounding stuff. Jeremy Renner's face puts me to sleep. There's no way.
Okay, sorry, we're getting off topic.
That's fine. That's what we do here on Geek Boutique. We go off topic. We range far afield.
Well, listen, we've been on for over an hour now. I think we should probably cut it off here. But Megan, listen, it was awesome to meet you. You're gonna have to be on to another Trek episode. I don't know what other fandoms you're in, but I know I followed you on Instagram and you followed me, so let's stay in touch.
I'll give you a list.
Yeah, there's a long list.
Yeah, and when we get back to a cosplay episode as well, again, because she's a costume maker, she would be good to have on from that perspective as well. So,
are you in his area?
I'm not in London. I'm in KW. So
she's in between us.
That's not too bad. That's not too bad. You're not way out in the boonies. I'm the way down the 401
that goes away from all the grossness that is Toronto traffic.
Yeah, well, hey, I'm on the East End, so I'm past Oshawa, so I'm in Clarington, so I don't have to deal with any of the city traffic because who the hell wants?
I'm in the less cool London.
Yes,
the less cool London, really?
Yeah, London, England is the cool London. I'm London, Canada, which is the very less cool London. Yeah.
They're the budget London.
We're the budget London. We're the dollar. We're the dollar store London for sure. All
right, Megan. Anything you want to pitch before we get off? Instagrams, websites, projects you're working on, anything?
So I have a Etsy store and a website that is called Valkyrie Custom Wear, and I'm going to be doing a Black Friday sale starting tomorrow. So if anybody wants medieval and/or fantasy things, hit me up.
So for those of you watching, if you've seen my Witcher cosplay, that's the one. That's the one that made my Witcher cosplay. Yes. So also my Obi-Wan, my newest Jedi robe, and my Obi-Wan Kenobi. That would also be that one there. And we've got a couple of other little things in the works that we're working. One project in particular, we're actually ready to go on that. That's going to it's going to come out, I think, in March maybe. So depending on the timeline, but we'll see. So yeah, we got some stuff. But yeah, go check out her stuff because it's really, really, really good. Especially if you're into that time, like Vikings and medieval and that kind of stuff. Yeah, it's fantastic.
I would say very different vibe from the entire topic of this podcast, but
it's true.
Quite fine. Jeff, what about you? Anything new going on over the next little while?
I think I've mentioned it before. So if you're in the area, December 4th, I will be here in London at No Frills, and we'll be collecting cans for the local food bank, collecting not just cans, but non-perishable goods for a food drive. So I'm going to spend all of December 4th doing that. I will be Captain America. And then on December 5th, I will be in St. Thomas at a holiday market. I hope an indoor holiday market. And I'll be Christmas Negan that day. And we'll be doing a photo booth, and people can stop by and get their picture taken with Negan and get hit with Lucille, and it'll be good fun. So that'll be an all-day event there. I think there's one or two other things, but I'm not going to bore you guys the pants off you guys. Those are the next two big things that I have coming up. So
There you go.
yeah,
Wicked.
What about you, JS?
Nothing.
Come on,
I got nothing coming
something.
up.
Come on.
No, we're in planning phases of a very, very big build for.
Nice.
I don't think we're gonna make Comic-Con. We might make Fan Expo, but we're in the planning phases. We're gonna start doing some prototyping, I should say, over the next couple weekends. A little scoop for everybody. Me and my buddy Rob are potentially building like 10-foot tall Transformers. So yeah,
classic movie.
We're arguing about that a little bit.
Okay.
He wants to go more Michael Bay Transformers. I want to go a little bit more, classic. Maybe not necessarily G1, but some sort of classic look. Whether we do like a Prime and a Megatron, or a Prime and a Bumblebee, or a Prime and a Starscream, or like I don't know what the characters are going to be yet.
I'm guessing you're Prime.
No, I actually I would prefer doing Megatron myself.
I'm about to say don't do Prime and Starscream. If one of you does Starscream, the other one has to do Megatron because that's
no. It would have to be Megatron. Yeah. It's either going to be two of the main Decepticons or two of the main Autobots, or Prime and Megatron.
Yeah.
It's
cool.
We're trying to figure all that out. We're still investigating how to build the structure.
Right.
That's going to let us go build inside the suit and move. And there's a whole group of builders out there that build these that we're trying to figure out how this all works. And it's a lot of work.
It's cardboard. What's the problem? Just get some cardboard boxes and get them up. It's fine.
Yeah,
you can absolutely do that out of cardboard. You can have it built in the weekend.
I mean, you could, but you're not going to be a 10-foot tall Transformer built out of cardboard in a weekend. I can tell you that. Not at the level we want to build them.
Winners never quit. Quitters never win.
So we, listen. Have you seen some of the Transformers? Not shows, but when you go to like Disneyland and they've got the big Megatron standing there interacting with kids, like that's what we're building. Like a big giant freaking robot like that. Like that's.
I will send you a really good friend of mine, East Coast Speedster, guy out in Halifax Way. If you know East Coast Speedster, he's got a Bumblebee and it looks fantastic.
Does he really? Okay, I'll have to check that out.
Really
I don't think I've noticed that.
Yeah. So if you're already following him, great. If not, then I will definitely shoot you a link because his Bumblebee is primo.
There he is.
Looks really good.
Yeah, I am. I do follow him. Oh yeah. Look at that.
Mm-hmm.
How did I never notice that?
I don't know.
Yeah, ours are going to be. Yeah, that's basically. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So maybe hit him up and see, where he got to where he was. He's Alden's his name, super approachable guy, really, really nice dude. So I'm sure.
So that's basically what we're doing, or what we're planning, or at least starting to plan.
Yeah, dude.
So awesome. We've got no events. We've got no anything. We're looking at the next build. I'm trying to grow this channel. People that are looking, make sure you actually click that subscribe button. Really helps us out here. Trying to get as many videos out as I can. When it's slow geek news days, what are you going to do, right? I mean, there's not much to talk about these days, but when stuff does come out, I try to make a video and try to build a following. And hey, by the way, guys, if you haven't seen, I have put some t-shirts up on my Instagram. I've made a couple t-shirt designs that are available. I shipped a couple to the U.S. this weekend. Holy Jesus, is it expensive to ship to the U.S. right now?
Yes.
Yeah, I shipped 2 t-shirts to Los Angeles, and it cost me $28. I was like, what? It's more expensive than what I'm selling the t-shirts for.
Wait till you need to send something overseas. That's when it really hurts.
Oh, I believe it. But yeah, there's some t-shirts available. I've got a brand new Star Trek design with this logo that you're seeing on the screen right now that I will be putting together over the next couple days. So if anybody's interested in that as well, that will be cool. Jeff, by the way, you've got one of those coming. So yeah. So otherwise, trying to grow the brand and get people to know Winston, and that's basically it for me. Geeks and Co. Make sure you go over here. Where is it? Right there.
Yep, right there.
Make sure you go follow us on Instagram. My personal Instagram, JSBelanger1701. But follow this one here. Way better content there. And then you can see our ugly mugs. All right, everybody. Well, listen, thanks again, folks, for sticking with us. Megan, again, thank you. Jeff,
as always
a pleasure.
Of course.
Thanks for watching, everybody. Make sure, like I said earlier, you click that like and subscribe button. It really, really helps us out. Stay geeky. We'll see you next time.